Hey guys, this is Kimberly Reuter, business advisor and supply chain expert, and thanks for coming to my podcast, The Morning Mood. I'm a little jet lagged, so out of it. But my last day in Austria in Salzburg, I was trying to get some pictures of the mountains behind me in this recording, but I think mostly what you're going to see is this construction crane. That's life in the big city. So the conference has been really well. I've been here in Salzburg for about 6 days and worked a conference with WCA, and I spoke about supply chain and e-commerce and what's going on in the current environment. Really well received, and I love doing keynote speaking. I love connecting with people that way, so it's always a positive for me. And it brought up a lot of kind of what I've already been talking about. A couple podcasts ago, I talked a little bit about the leadership values that I believe in. That there's no, open mind, and kindness. And we talked about no. And today I want to talk to you about open mind. And I also saw a lot of this at this conference, which is why it's top of mind right now and on the morning mood. Open mind. What does that really mean? If you're a Buddhist or in Zen philosophy or any of that kind of stuff, you probably hear that all the time, keeping an open mind. But what does it mean in like a corporate professional context? What does it mean to keep an open mind? Well, I have this saying I say all the time, which is the higher you go, the less you know. And I find that a lot of leaders, as they move up in the corporate world and become vice president, senior vice president, CEOs, they feel like that title entitles them to be the all knowing. And anything they say is right. Anything they suggest is the best suggestion. Any of their thoughts, opinions on anything related to anything is it, because they have reached this status. And I have seen it take companies down. The bigger, the older the company, the longer it takes to take them down, but it will slowly drain the company because when your leaders stop learning, the company stops growing. That's my other thing. When you stop learning, you stop growing. And that's pretty classic philosophy out there, but when you apply it to business, it takes on a slightly different interpretation. So when you see companies out there that are struggling, maybe they did 50, 30% growth year over year for 10, 15, 20 years, they were just killing it, and then they plateau. A lot of that time is because they stopped learning. They stopped listening. They stopped asking questions. They were successful and they no longer needed to ask questions, be curious, or otherwise have a conversation because they know everything. There's a particular company that I worked with for a while, an older company that had been around for a while that had been extremely successful for generations, but slow circle of the drain in death of the company. And a lot of it was because of the senior leadership they had in place did not have an open mind. They didn't want to listen. They don't want to know what you think. They have this big background. I've been here for 20 years. I know everything. And my answer to that was this: if you've been in charge for 20 years and we're performing this badly, you have to go. I don't understand why companies don't get that. When things start going badly, they attack the little guys, right? They're like, "Oh, we're going to fire the directors and all these little managers. We have too many," but they never go all the way to the top and go, "Did this guy cause this? Does this guy sending us in the wrong direction? Is he sending in the wrong message?" They don't, because they think they know everything. They don't ask. It's another reason why Amazon has been so incredibly successful, because Amazon assumes every day, or at least they used to, that they don't know anything. That's the day one philosophy, the famous day one philosophy. And it's another one of those Amazon principles that I hear misinterpreted so often and normally associated with like chronic failure. Well, it's our day one. No, the day one philosophy is about you don't know anything. That's what day one means. Day one doesn't mean I can fuck up how much I want because it's day one and I don't know anything. Day one is you don't know anything and you got to go do something better. That's what day one is about. Day one is about it's your first experience with every customer. Whether or not they've been shopping with you for 20 years, it's their first experience with them. That's what day one is about. Day one is about not knowing anything and wanting to figure it all out. not just about not knowing anything. It's the figuring it all out part of it. It's the hard part that people forget. Remember, I talked to you about the other Amazon principle fail fast and learn. What you hear all the time people talk about is fail fast. It's the and learn piece that is so important here. So, open mind. When you're a leader and you walk into an organization or you're leading an organization with a I know everything mindset, you're shutting down your team. I don't care how many beers you take them out for. I don't care how life of the party you think you are. I don't care how cool you think you are. When you think you know everything, you stop listening to your people and you devalue them. When you start making demands for people to do something or perform something because you saw it done once, or maybe 40 years ago when you worked in a warehouse, you did it one time, and you start yelling at people and telling them that they got to do that because you know how to do it and not listening to them about maybe they've tried it. What else have they done? What are they trying to accomplish? Why are you even fucking involved? Do you need to be there? You just in there just making it worse. That's a lot of times what I see happening too is I know it all and I'm gonna go dig in this I'm just gonna go jump in somebody else's shit. I'm gonna tell them what they're doing and I'm gonna make it worse because I really don't know. And here's why I want to bring this to the table. One, because of the absolute horrific culture it creates when you have senior leaders who are this way. It's horrible. I've worked in it. It got to the point, the company that I worked at where this was really prevalent, is it almost came comical. Like, I almost watched it happen. Like, I'm like, "Okay, this is gonna be good." The other thing, in addition to you cannot grow if you don't have an open mind, which means you can't grow your company, you're devaluing the organization and the people who work for you because you're saying that you know everything and they don't know anything. The third thing that happens, and this is related to number 1, is that the company stops growing, is that you start to create inefficiencies because you're doing things the way somebody did it years ago. You're not listening to anything new. You're not open to new ideas. And you start having inefficiencies. And then what really starts happening if you have a really bad leader who thinks that they know everything and you know nothing because they've been around or they did it once, is then they double down. It's wild. I don't understand it. They double down. And all of a sudden they're like, "Okay, no, you don't know anything, and I know everything, and I'm just gonna keep double downing on this until you relent." And that's when inefficiencies start because now we're not doing something that makes sense. We're doing it because we're being forced to, and that's when the drain happens. On the personal side, from a personal professional perspective, when you stop having an open mind, you stopped attracting good talent. I know. I know. I know. You spit your coffee out on that one, didn't you? Yeah. Uh-huh. It's a bold truth that people don't really want to talk about. But when you create a culture of I'm the shit and I know everything because I'm the boss, because I built this company, or because I got promoted, or whatever it is that you're using to justify your shitty behavior, people don't want to work for that. Smart people don't want to work for that. Independent thinkers don't want to work for that. Innovators don't want to work for that. Builders don't want to work for that. Who does want to work for that? People who don't want to think a lot, people who don't want to challenge anything, people who want to maintain what was there, people who aren't really interested in making any bold moves, people who want to come in every day and just be told what to do. That's what you will attract. Now, if that's what you want, fine. Good luck. Enjoy. But if you want to grow a company that's innovative, with innovative thinkers, move fast, have quality, quantity, good customer experience, and have a happy culture, you have to let it go. You have to be stupid. And this is why this is such a problem because people are afraid to say, I don't know. I actually counseled a young man at a previous client about this. It was killing his career, killing it, killing his career. Actually, super smart guy, really smart, had the instincts, had everything. but he was afraid to say he didn't know something. And you know what happened? He fucked up a lot. He got a bad reputation in the organization. He became very defensive and hard to work with because people didn't really trust him because he wasn't honest. And it was very uncomfortable for him. And he was going to quit. He felt like maybe supply chain wasn't for him. He needed to find another company, blah, 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 blah. But here's the truth. If he did quit and leave supply chain and go to another company, the behavior would have happened the same. They would have gotten the same result because the behavior didn't change. So what I counseled him is like, it's okay to say, I don't know. And even if you're not quite comfortable with saying, I don't know. And so let me just pause here for a second. I struggled with this for years, years to say, I don't know, to be vulnerable enough to say that I don't know. I struggled forever. So I know how it feels to not want to say it, but you have to. Okay. So if you are uncomfortable, and this is how I know you can, this is a little workaround. So if you're uncomfortable with saying, I don't know, you can always say, let me get back to you. Let me think about that and get back to you. You don't have to say, well, gee, I'm a dumbass. I don't know. You can say, I'm not sure. Let me get back to you. You can really do that. And it works just as well. But it is okay to say, I don't know. In fact, it's considered a leadership skill to be able to say, I don't know. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have to go find out. That doesn't mean you don't have to go learn it. That doesn't mean you don't have to come up with a solution. But what it does mean is that it is okay to say, I'm not sure. I need to go figure this out. And when you do this, and it takes, if you haven't been doing it and you're uncomfortable with it and you feel like you're going to lose your job because you don't know anything and da da da, but just try it. Try it on something small that you feel comfortable with. But once you do this, what you will notice is that that weight is lifted. And when the weight is lifted and it gives you room to expand, you can actually come up with a better answer, a better solution. It gives you time to come up with something versus trying to bullshit your way through it, which is what my friend was doing. And it was costing him because he was just making shit up. He wasn't doing it on purpose. Well, he was doing it on purpose, but he wasn't doing it maliciously. He wasn't doing it to be an ass. He was doing it because he was afraid to say he didn't know. He was afraid if he said, I don't have an answer to that question, that he would lose his job. But the irony is that because of his odd behavior, his defensiveness, his giving incomplete information, the other thing people will do, and I picked up on this, for a tip for leaders, when someone doesn't know something, just for anybody actually, when someone doesn't know something, they use a lot of words. Yeah. Mhm. When you ask a real simple, like, yes, no question and you get, like, a 17-sentence answer, they don't know. That's what that means, okay? And in anything and anywhere in your life, anything personal, professional, personal relationships, if you ask a simple question, you get a really long, complicated answer, they don't know. So, if you see this, you know that you have an opportunity to let someone know that it's okay not to know. But it allows when you give yourself space to come up with a better solution, a better answer. You build trust with your people because they feel comfortable not knowing. When you tell someone you don't know, I got to get back to you, they know that they're getting a better answer, something that you've actually thought about. You're not giving bad information. You're not running people around. You're not wasting people's time. There's a ton of benefits to saying, I don't know. And the other thing you can do too is, I don't know, but I know someone who does, and you can refer them on. That's the other thing that you can do too. I may not have the answer, but I can refer you to someone else. And if you're curious about it, you can maybe tag along and learn something too. So I don't know. An open mind. It is a requirement for successful leadership. It is a requirement for successful corporations. And one last comparison for you. Let's look at Amazon. Look at all the things that Amazon has expanded into. They started selling books, then DVDs and then CDs and stuff that you could put in a mail package. And now they sell everything all over the world. They have pharmacies, they have medical care, they have AI, they have hardware. Do you know why? Because they didn't know. When Amazon reached $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion, they didn't sit back and be like, yeah, we knew, we got it. We know now. We're done. They didn't do that. They kept the day one philosophy. We don't know. We don't know. What does the market need? What's out there? What do we need to do? How can we do better? That's what they did. Day one, they didn't know. So that's what I don't know. The open mind is all about. It's why it's so important to leadership. It's why Amazon has it as one of its original principles. To grow the company, to grow as a person, and to grow as a leader, you have to have an open mind and you have to not know. That's all I have for you guys today from Salzburg. I am heading my trip home today. Lord, I am tired and I am ready to be back in Virginia. I got about 13 hours of travel ahead of me today, door to door. And so I'm going to hit that here in a couple hours. But thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. If I met you in Salzburg, thanks for tuning into my podcast. I appreciate it. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.